Hey, welcome to Mitch's K1V's channel. It's nice to see everybody out there. Nice to be here to give you guys another great video. Today I'm going to talk about the green card marriage interview. That's a big deal for a lot of people because a lot of us, well, we know a day's going to come, right? We meet our person from another country, we get married, and then we have to deal with this interview. And it's quite an issue that makes one sweat sometimes, correct? I know I did. So people did ask me before, they said, well, why do they do this? Why are they judging my marriage? Well, the problem is that, this is how laws are created because most of the people go by the law, right? There's always that percentage, though, who try to sham the law, who try to fraud the law, who try to play games with the law. Same thing with marriage in the international realm as well. People sometimes do this for things other than love. They do things for profit, of course. There's always a profit there to be made if you do it illegally, the marriage process. There's other reasons as well. People make agreements already beforehand to do after they get married. They do this, they do that. So Yuskis is doing these interviews. They've done them for years now to make sure they're not dealing with sham marriages or fraudulent marriages. And so it's really a big deal. It made me sweat. I'm the American citizen side, right? I'm the petitioner. And I was sweating too before the interview because I wanted to make sure that we had our answers correct. We had our ducks in a row for this person who's going to interview me, who knows little to nothing about me. And so that always it made me very much concerned for this interview process. So usually what they can ask you is things like, your daily routines, how you guys met and things of that nature. But what you got to remember is that you have to understand is that before you go for this interview with your spouse, right, you guys have to really play a game with each other in a way that reflects upon your history. Meaning that what we did a lot, my wife and I, we did this a lot. Okay, ask me a question. And she would ask me a question about her history. What's my mother's full name, right? I tell her mother's full name. I say, okay, when did my dad die? When did my dad pass? And she told me that when my dad passed, and we would say things like, she would say, okay, what country was I born in and what city was I born in? Things like that back and forth. And we did about 3 or 4 questions every day because it's got to be repetitive. Now, typically people who are married for a long time, 10, 15 years, these things are easy to answer, okay? But these questions, though, they're going to ask you at USCIS at the interview some pretty in-depth questions that may even make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you must answer them because you want to be with your spouse, right? And so that's a really big deal. So what I did is that I wrote down some questions here for you guys in a minute here about what they're going to ask you, but also too, I want to make sure that you guys understand that the interview isn't really to hurt you. By that I mean the USCIS person is not really trying. If you're legitimate, there's not much a USCIS officer can do to hurt your marriage, correct? If you guys are answering all the same questions the same way, you're in line, you're firing everything together the same way, everything's in unison, it makes sense, that's no big deal. They're not there for you, actually, because you guys are legitimate. It's the people who are trying to play games are the ones that they're looking out for. They're trying to make sure they don't sham the system or do fraudulent things. So I wrote down some questions that they did ask me as a petitioner in my marriage interview. So I want to give you guys some of these questions. So the first one is, how did you meet? So know where you guys met and know how you met. Some people meet online or some people meet, wherever. Make sure you guys both know how you met. Story of your marriage proposal. Now, I proposed to my wife in Cancun, so that's how I proposed to her. The story beforehand was about the ring before we came to Cancun. So you guys both want to know that story because she should know the story as well as you, the petitioner, should know the story as well. You guys both want to know the marriage story. What was your wedding like? Now, that sounds like a nebulous question, right? What was our wedding like? Well, what they want to know is like, how many people were there? Were there children there? Was it inside or outside? What city was it in? Things like that. You guys should both know. At the wedding, what food was served? Very important. Most people know what food was served at their weddings. You should know too. And it hasn't got to be a huge event outside where they spend thousands of dollars. No. If your wedding was as small as going to a picnic park and having a small wedding there, you should still know what food was served. Understand? They just want to make sure that you were there and you know what food was there and your wife had the same food that you had, okay? At this point, guys, I want to stop. I want to tell you, I want to ask you politely to please subscribe to my channel. I want this thing to grow. I want to get as much information out there to people. I am a man who has been married for 6 years now to a beautiful woman from another country. I'm very proud to be married to her. And in the process, though, you guys, there were so many things I know I was doing wrong, but I had no one to really help me because I wasn't going to pay for an attorney. So I wish I had videos like this to watch, and now I'm just trying to spread the word and spread some help to you guys, okay? So please subscribe, click on the like button for sure, please. Hit the bell to see more videos of mine, and please comment, okay? Let's keep on going. So here's a question. This was a good one for me that I had. I remember this question. What is life like for you and your spouse around the house? Great question. So they really want to know, like, does the guy get up, have coffee, go to the computer? Does she get up, have coffee, go to the computer? Does she go out jogging? Does he cook? They want to know what you guys, how you guys live around your house every day, what you guys do. And these answers should be very close because it shows that you guys live together, right? Another one here, favorite food. What is your favorite food? Big one. You should know hers and she should know yours. Should be easy for you guys. This one got me. It's easy, but it's like, interesting question. What side of the bed do you sleep on? Great question, right? We all have that one side, you know. The thing for me, I always sleep by the door. So wherever the door is, I sleep facing the door. That's just how I've always done it, you know. So that would be the right side. So you guys make sure you know what side of the bed you sleep on. Birthdays. When's her birthday? When is her child's birthday? When is her mother's birthday? Just know these things, you know. The question I had for me was, when was her birthday? And when was her daughter's birthday? That's a question that I have for me. So just make sure you guys understand you might get that same question tossed at you as well, okay? What did you guys gift to each other, right? So it's a big one. Every Christmas, you know, whatever holiday you guys celebrate, whatever, Yuskas will ask you, what gift did you give? See, a gift giving is something that you're not always going to be thinking about, right? It's not a huge question, right? But it is a question that if you answer wrong, Yuskas can dig in there and go from there. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, Mitchell, what happens then with this process if we don't pass this process? Are they curious or they have problems with your answers? Well, then we get into a Stokes situation, S-T-O-K-E-S. For Stokes, we're going to review that in another video. My next video, we'll talk about the Stokes option. Stokes is not something you want to go through, but people do go through it in the K-1 visa marriage interview process. So we'll talk about that later, okay? But right now, you guys, the questions I gave you, answer those for sure. Know those answers for sure. Both of you should have the answers for the other. Remember, this is not an interview process meant to hurt you. It's just to make sure that you are with the majority of people who are getting married, who got married for legitimate reasons, okay? And honestly, it took maybe 10 or 15 minutes and we were done, and that was it. So I know you have some anxiety, I get that, but you'll get through it. Just know your spouse like you should and make sure he or she knows you, and it should be okay. And I want to thank you guys again for watching my video, and thank you for being here. And please hit the comment, just a little comment for me, hit the like button, and please subscribe to this channel. You guys are awesome.